Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. An absolute pleasure to be able to speak to you today.
Thank you.
Maybe you can kick off with a brief introduction to your film. Good luck to you, Leo Grande. If people haven't seen it before, what can they expect?
It's a film about a woman in her 60s who, having never really had good sex with her husband, who has died, decides that she would like to hire a young male sex worker for the night to try and show her what it's all about. And so that, in a nutshell, is what this is.
And, you know, it's such an original story, something we haven't really seen on screen before. Where did you get the idea for it?
I don't know where I got the idea. I have lots of ideas. They sort of go through my head, you know, like sort of plankton in the sea. And every now and again, one is bigger than the others and gets snagged on a net, you know, and that stays in there and just sits there for a while. And so it was like that with this. I just pictured the opening scene of her waiting, a bit nervous, knowing he's about to arrive, the knock on the door, he opens it, and then we're on. Then we're starting. Let's see what happens. And so that just beginning 30 seconds really just fascinated me for a long time. And then I finally sat down and thought, well, what happens next? And started to write a first draft. And I just found the two of them very interesting, and I found the two characters, as I wrote them, just increasingly funny, interesting, entertaining, and it became less about the actual sex and just more about them talking. And so it sort of, it was a kernel of an idea, a setup, a scenario and a dynamic that I found really interesting and I thought could be quite rich for exploration. And then it just expanded as I wrote it.
And what an incredible cast you got to take on these two roles. You know, Daryl is so wonderful, but, you know, particularly Emma Thompson. Like, did you have her in mind when you were writing this character? It just seems to fit her so well.
I did have her in mind, and I wrote it with her voice and her abilities and her sort of world-class acting talent and craft in mind. I just never thought that this would happen, that she would actually be in it and I'd be sat here talking about it. When I first wrote it, no one knew anything about it. I just wrote it for myself. I thought no one will ever see this. But I had her voice, her cadences, her ability with comedy, how she can go from drama to comedy to drama. She can be moving and funny in the same breath. But just the way she talks, you know, she's just brilliant at delivering a line, just dryly and perfectly. And so, yeah, I had her voice in mind, but I never thought we would get to this point. And it's just an absolute dream that she said yes. And then Daryl, you know, just superb. I mean, he just absolutely defines the character of Leo. He has embodied it and created it afresh from the script. So I can't believe how lucky we are that he came along.
And of course, you know, you might on paper have the two perfect people to play each character, but you never know what's going to happen with chemistry on set. So how did you work with them maybe to prepare? And obviously it must have been a very intense shoot as well, you know, it's just the two of them, almost like a play. And so how did you work with them to achieve your vision?
Well, I didn't. That was very much the director, Sophie Hyde. I wasn't there for the shoot because they had to bubble and it was 3 weeks, and I just thought I shouldn't be away from my family for 3 weeks just to sort of stand at the back with my arms folded, you know, being off-putting as the writer. So what we did was work together on the script. We talked a lot about the characters, and then we locked the script. And then they started shooting it. And then they, as a group, Emma, Daryl and Sophie, very much created a dynamic between them, which I think felt very safe and free and creative. And they knew what they were doing with that. They knew that's what they wanted to do. And so they really just took it and made it better, made it their own. And so, yes, I think it was, by all accounts, you know, quite an intense experience, but also very creative and freeing, and I'm just really grateful that they created that dynamic together, and the chemistry is just undeniable, I think. And you know, Emma had various meetings with actors and kind of, you know, all this sort of thing, and I said I'm just going to keep out of that because the most important thing, you know, we're up to a level now where actors are brilliant. The most important thing is that Emma feels comfortable, and the actor, ultimately Daryl, feels comfortable together, that they're going to explore this happily together. And so once that they had found each other, it just felt like, I'll just back off, you know, that's fine. Because chemistry is just an indefinable, you know, thing that you can't predict. And when it comes along, you just have to grab it and say that I'm so lucky that these two people had such great chemistry, because that's where the magic is.
And coming to the very particular tone of the film, you know, which it's such an incredible script because there's so much nuance there. And I guess from your comedy background, you know, there's that real streak of humour through the whole thing. But there's just lots of moments where it's kind of like this ebb and flow, where they're kind of revealing themselves and then kind of like, you know, going back inside again, if you like. So there's kind of like a bit of a tete-a-tete throughout the film that happens. So what did you want to do with the tone and what do you want to say with that?
I wanted it to be funny. I wanted the characters to find each other funny, not be the butt of the jokes for the audience, but for them within the drama to find one another amusing. And I wanted them to make each other laugh and make us laugh. So that was just very important for me, that it was funny. And so tonally, that's where I was going. And I think you can do a lot if you're making people laugh. There's a quote that I have taped by my desk that is attributed to various people, one of whom is Billy Wilder, who's a hero, and it just says, if you're going to tell people the truth, make them laugh or they'll kill you. And I think that's been a guiding principle for me, and I think it will continue to be.
And what do you ultimately hope people take away? Because, of course, it's subverting so many expectations and stereotypes about sex work, about older women on screen exploring their sexuality, also ideas of what, well, I guess we used to call them male escorts, what they can be like. But there's also something really refreshing about the fact that they seem to enjoy actually just having this connection, and so it's not just about physical pleasure.
Yes.
So what do you hope people take away?
I want people to feel uplifted and excited about their own lives, about the possibilities for themselves. That's something I remember being very important to me when I watched films when I was younger, and still is. And that's what I want. I want people to walk out of the cinema or even just in their own homes when they've watched it, just feeling a fizz of excitement inside them about what might happen to them next if they just take the reins of their own lives. And that's what I love about films, and if I can do that for other people with a film I've made, then that's a dream come true. And
was it also important to you to have this kind of older female character? And, you know, people have said, oh, what would it be like if you reversed it, you know, and it was an older man with a younger female. But, of course, you can't deny the power dynamics and how gendered they are. So I wondered if that was important to you too.
It was important to me, but mainly it was important to me that these were two interesting people who were interested in each other and interested in having a connection. And so I want to see those people represented, and I want to see the desires and the humanity of all of us represented, and it is a real gap in terms of older women, you know, who are fully human and have all these thoughts and things, and so that was interesting to me. But on the question of, oh, could it be flipped? I'd be interested in writing that. I don't think it's impossible to write something, you know, interesting and charming and entertaining and true and honest and funny with it flipped. I just think it's a matter of creating characters, whoever they are, however old, wherever they're from, whatever gender, who are real and open and up for the chat. And if you get that in a character, then I think, you know, you don't want them to stop talking, which is what I was after.
Can you quickly tell us what you might be working on next?
I don't know if I can, but I am writing. I'm writing, and I've got several exciting things on the go. So it's a little bit watch this space. Sorry, that's annoying. But
No, thanks so much for sharing all that with us. Can't wait for everyone else to see the film. Thanks so much.
You.
Cheers.
Thanks so much.